I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me, and what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan, your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour, take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder, work until you're prouder. And f*** all the doubters, they're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. I'm just telling you to fight for your dreams, but it's not what it seems. Man, it's hard to be seen when everybody wants to be king. Yeah, they all wanna ring, yeah, we all wanna be free. So show me what you got, what you bring, how you fight in the ring, how you take a fucking swing. Do you got heart, are you mean? Got some scars, got some needs, are you willing to go bleed? I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns.
Welcome back, ESGN Nation, to another episode here in Madden 23 with the Buffalo Bills franchise. We're inside the Bills Mafia Sit-down, episode number 11, and of course we're getting ready for the we just finished up the preseason, getting ready for the regular season of season number 3, and it should be a good one. We've got a lot of new faces, and of course some new play, a little bit of a new playbook. Definitely a new defense. We're starting with a whole new brand new defense, and I want to talk about that a little later on. But let's take a look here at the preseason. The Dolphins, who made a huge splash in the offseason, and of course going into the draft, made some pretty good draft picks as well. And the last 2 seasons now, they've been doing that, and have been kind of making a good challenge here against us in the AFC East division. They go perfect 3-0 in the preseason there, and of course we play them in week 1. Yeah, not looking forward to that one. A little intimidated by that, but we'll see how things turn out to be, and we'll talk about that coming up here towards the end of the video when we talk about the first week 1 preview of that matchup. But for the most part here, it's been a tough one for us. We've won 2 and lost 1, and of course the first one we lost. Hopefully you guys got to check out the preseason games there. They are on the channel here. They are not voiced over by me or anything like that. They're just strictly raw gameplay of CPU versus CPU. I just want to see how the team would play if I happen to not have control of the team as a user. Just kind of want to see what we can do and of course I made some notes there, some changes of some ideas of plays, and of course personnel on the squad, and I do that every single year. I just want to see what the team was like, just without me have to actually be behind being the puppet master of all this. So we see there a loss to Arizona 33-21 in that matchup there against Arizona, and Arizona did a pretty good job there. Of course, a lot of it came from their second string guys who did a great job there in the second quarter. I wanted to see what of course we didn't get to see our second string quarterback that we got with Pete Jones from University of Utah, but we'll see him more in action in these next 2 games. We'll see here in just a bit. But yeah, you see a pretty good, there are some areas in our game that we still need to fix. Obviously defense didn't do so well in that game. giving up 33 points. That's not like our defense, regardless who is in control. But Josh Allen, of course, played only in the first quarter there. Matt Ryan, surprisingly enough, even though he did throw one pick there, surprisingly enough, he did actually have a pretty good showing that he had 65% of his passes completed. He had 227 yards in that game with 2 touchdowns and 1 INT, and of course, as well as a sack. Matt Ryan, probably not the best pickup that we had in the off season there as a second string quarterback, and of course he actually really truly, if I think about it now here, we're going to officially say that Matt Ryan is going to be kind of the second, or he's going to be the third string quarterback. He's going to kind of mentor Pete Jones there in that for that second string there. He's going to, I'm pretty much going to say Pete Jones pretty much had the opportunity there, because I really I started thinking about, okay, we got to find a quarterback here that can help us out in case something that does happen to Josh Allen or something like that. So I want to start thinking about the future here for the Bills, especially once we get deeper and more into this. So I decided to go ahead and of course we did draft Jones there. He was a late round pick. I forgot which round it was that we picked him up in, but nonetheless, I thought he was a good fit for us, for at least for a backup. So of course, like I said, depending on what games and who we're playing against, whatnot, he will definitely get playing time there. We will swap him and Josh out when we are in blowout situations there, or if we get blown out, or if we blow out teams this season. So I want to because one thing I wanted to kind of focus on is making sure that Matt Ryan, that Allen does not throw interceptions. I'm really trying my best to keep him in single digits this season. That is something I really want to do. One of the things I have been looking at is a new slider set. Of course, I do use Matt 10's slider set from this particular game, and I've been kind of trying to fix that and trying to make sure we don't throw too many picks, but at the same time, still have the defense play like the defense is supposed to play, how the CPU is supposed to be playing. So I'm hoping and praying that for the most part, we are going to be running the ball, and that's why we picked up Javon there as a third string running back there, because I want to run the ball a lot more compared to what we've had in the past. So we're gonna have a bit of a three-headed monster when it comes to the running game. Like I said, we'll even talk about more about that once we get ready for the upcoming season. That's one of the biggest things I want to kind of focus on when we get into in this third year here. I want to focus on the run. I want to focus on the run so bad, because I think the running game is going to be so important here. That's going to keep Josh healthy, and also to get him an opportunity to last year he should have won MVP, but unfortunately with the way he was throwing interceptions there, it was just not the case. And I really want to see him get MVP before we wrap up this series. Defensively, I feel really strong defensively. I think we got a good linebacking core. You could see a little bit of that, I think, in game 2 in this preseason game matchup, but this one we didn't see too much. And speaking of the second game there, you see we win this one 22-9. Chicago still having a tough time there. Justin Fields, we're still questionable about his idea of him being the quarterback there for the Bears, but of course that's something they're gonna have to deal with. But if you take a look here, running wise there, we didn't run the ball too well there. Again, we threw the ball. I think we felt more comfortable throwing the ball this time around. 275 yards passing to their 37 yards to our 37 yards rushing. They had 61 yards on the ground. They had 225 through the air. And as you take a look here, we had +1 in the turnover department, or I should say -1 in the turnover. Or no, yeah, -1 in the turnover department. They had +1 in there. And then of course there you see Justin Fields 154 in his day there with the Bears in that matchup there. He got 61% of his passes completed. He didn't throw too much. He only threw about 16 times in the game, But that right there, I'm hoping that our defense really just kind of roughed them up, made them uncomfortable in the pocket, and that's what I want to do with our defense. I want them to come in there. I want them to be blitzing. I want them to come in there in all different directions and just give the quarterback a huge, just horrible time in that pocket as much as they possibly can and as often as we can, because I am changing things up when it comes to subs. I'm trying to get guys come in more often and take guys off the field less often, so we can have a fresh pair of legs out there. And so many, I'm trying to set it up to where they come in for every 3 plays. The backup will come in for another 2. So I'm just trying to shake things up, trying to get things going for defensive, because like I said, we got some good linebackers here that I want to get into, that we've drafted from season 1, that haven't got to play too much since that season 1 draft when we got them into, and of course last year there was their first year. And they're in season 2. I want to see what they can do more. This is their time now to start stepping up and take this as their team and show what they can do as going to be the new, the guys, the leaders of this defensive squad. And I think we've seen a bit of that here in this matchup here against the Bears, and I'm pretty proud of the guys, what they could do, what they were doing in that game, because watching some of that game, it was really impressive. Of course, you see Jalen Johnson, he's with the Bears now. He got signed with them over the offseason there, and it was I kind of just shook my head. I'm like, wow, we're seeing a lot of our guys here that we've released or traded off here too. We've actually been doing a lot of trading with Chicago as of late in this series. Pete Jones, so you see his numbers there, 57% of his passes complete, 15-26. He threw for 140. He threw a touchdown, no interceptions there. He did get sacked twice there, and that's something that I need to do too. Is just make sure we eat the ball. If we can make a play with our legs with our quarterback, okay, that's fine. But at the same time, don't throw the ball just anywhere. Just take it, run it, and just run out of bounds. If we have to, lose some yards because we're dropping back too far and just run out of bounds there, that's fine too. But at the same time too, sometimes you just got to eat it. Just take the sack. If we're too far, I say we're like 10 yards back from the offensive line or from the line of scrimmage. Okay, get rid of the ball. Throw it away. But yeah, for the most part here, we did a great job. Sacks wise, the offensive line did a great job for us last year. We didn't get sacked too often. And I think with Jones, he's got a good pair of legs there. He can get himself out of it if he needs to. But he's also, by practicing with him, I actually feel pretty comfortable throwing the ball away with him. So that's something I'm really kind of happy that's controlling him wise. It just feels natural. And of course, there you see Diggs. I can't remember if exactly. Now, we do have some bad news here to tell you, because Diggs did get hurt. Now, I can't remember if it was this game that Diggs got hurt or if it was the last preseason game here, but we will not have Diggs for at least for the first 2 weeks of the season, meaning a lot of guys will have to step up. And I'm thinking right now, the guy that I think we're going to be throwing to a lot more often will, of course, be Hunter Cannon. I think this is his time to shine. We see what he could do in college there when he's the High and Scotty series, and now here with Buffalo, I think he's going to be even more of a terrorizing threat in that red zone there. Of course, with him and of course OJ Howard, who we are possibly, maybe, kind of sort of thinking about getting rid of in the trade deadline, and of course Calvin Parker as well, who last year had some pretty good numbers. He started off really well, red hot in the season, but then kind of took second fiddle to Hunter Cannon. But this year he's going to be stepping. We're going to see him have more of an impact role here on that offensive line. And of course, the final game of the season there, we played against Seattle, which was a big game there, 31-13. Great game. That was a really fun game to watch, and those guys did a great job there. I seen a lot of good things there for the most part here. I was really happy with some of the things that came out of that game. for the most part here, especially the time possession. Did a great job there holding on to the football, moving the ball down the field like I would for the most part here. But yeah, Josh Allen played, of course, most of that game there. 309 or 306 yards, 2 touchdowns there in that game. Obviously, he completed 83% of his passes. He threw 30 for 35, which to me is a little too much because I'm trying to get my bet. I'm trying my best to keep Josh to throw somewhere around 30 passes a game. I think that just seems like a good number here for him. So that's why I said the running game is going to be becoming very important for us. That is something we're working, I think, with the coaches' trees and stuff like that. I was working with looking at making sure we had a coaching tree that would really focus on the running game and making sure the running game was really important. So then we can open up the playbook a lot more because if they're looking for the run, and of course they know our bread and butter is the run, then we can open up the playbook and like, okay, what is the pass play we can throw? Start throwing stuff over their heads and causing problems with them, especially with the tight ends we have. We have, both Parker and Cannon are both great players who are like 6'6", 6'7". They're tall guys. They can go for those 50-50 balls and come down with them. They got the odds of them coming down with it is great. So, but like I said, we won't have Stephon Diggs for the first 2 weeks of the season. So that means Isaac McKenzie, who had a great game there. He had eight catches for over 100 yards there in that game, and a tutty as well. He's going to be very important. I was thinking about maybe bringing in somebody here in the, possibly bring us a ringer in to kind of take over that spot there. But then I started thinking, I was like, you know what? Let's not do that. Let's start working on. Let's work on a potential player for the future for us. He may not be the X factor or the superstar or the star player, but we got a couple of wide receivers that have some pretty good speed there that we're trying to develop. Let's bring in another guy there, work out for the next 2 weeks, see what he can do, and go from there. So McKenzie is definitely going to be a guy that it's going to be our number one guy, or at least we're going to make the rest of the league think that way. But Hunter Cannon obviously going to be their guy that we're going to be throwing to quite a bit and giving him one of those opportunities there. But I really want to try to see what we can do with that fourth guy that we're going to bring up. And we're going to add some ideas of who that fourth guy could be. We got a couple wide receivers that I want to kind of swap out for the first 2 or 3 weeks there. Whenever, at least I think we won't have him for sure. I think the first 2 weeks, I know for sure we won't have Diggs, but be a way we can experiment with some of the wide receivers that we do have. Because like I said, we have at least 3 wide receivers that are 99 speed, 99 plus speed. That we have in our in the practice squad. So I really want to kind of bring those guys in and see what they can do. Get a game or two in there with them and see what they can do, and just kind of tinker with it with the wide receivers there for the most part. Deshaun Robbins, of course, he's going to make a return this season. Of course, he missed out the majority of the last season because of injury. He didn't get played in the playoffs there, at least not until the Super Bowl. He got to play in, but he didn't play in that Super Bowl too much. So we'll see him more, and of course he's going to make more of an impact this upcoming season on that defensive line, along with him and Ed Oliver. Of course, he's making a nice return. We signed him to a nice deal for the next couple of seasons. Then of course you see Seattle's numbers there, and of course Terry Wolf. I'm really excited about him because this is going to be his year 2, and this is going to be his sophomore campaign. I think he is going to make a huge noise there for Seattle because we do play Seattle, I think, later on in the season again. So, Seattle's definitely going to be a team that I'm going to kind of keep my eye on because I think we do play against them. I think it's later in the season that we play against them. So, but I think for the most part here, our guys, middle linebackers, I'm really excited about there. We got some young guys there. And of course, I think this year, even more so here, I'm really excited about our secondary. I feel confident more in our secondary than I did last year. Last year, it was kind of questionable of who some of those secondary players were and what they could do. there in the there, in the deep passing game for us, or at least defend the deep passing game. And I think this year, I feel more solid than I do than compared to last year. Last year it was kind of like, okay, let's go out here and see what we can do. Everything's kind of questionable because I don't know exactly who is going to be doing what, or who can do what. And last year, of course, we had a couple of scares there, but for the most part here, we did a great job there of kind of hiding it and not like, don't look over here, don't expose that. But I think this year, with the changes we made here, I feel pretty confident here. Of course, that is something we're going to be looking in the off season, or for this next draft here coming up. I do have season 3 draft ready. It'll be up on Community Creations here on this Madden 23, just like the other two are. Now those will be uploaded to those, so you guys can see those guys there. I'll talk more about that coming up. This is the class that would have Avery Davis. I don't know if you guys remember him from the Highland Scotty series, but he was a quarterback for Notre Dame, and I think he won it, or he came up close winning it. I can't remember exactly, but this is the class number 3 with them. There's a couple other players as well. We'll talk more about those once we get to a chance to preview some of those that draft class there. So as we take a look here, we got some 17 cuts we got to make, and of course a lot of these cuts are going to be guys that are going to be taking over to the practice squad there. So we'll see some of these players go to the practice squad, get their opportunities to shine, and of course some of these players we will be calling up. But of course there are some players here I'm like, it's time to let you guys go. They're on their last year contracts, and it's like, really, we found somebody. There's a couple guys better than you, younger than you, or we can just simply move a guy over there to play that position for the time being, because we have a player maybe in practice squad that could fill that role if we need him to, or if worst case scenario, if injury or whatever, we do have the cash so we can go out and sign a player off the free agency. But I think for the most part here, a lot of these players, they kind of know that they were going to be let go. So Eddie Massey, of course, he's not going to be let go. He's going to be on the practice squad there. I believe Morris Whittaker as well. But then there's some other players there. It just makes sense that it would help us out in the budget wise, just to let them go and see what's going to happen. Of course, if we want to, they would make some decent money. We can bring them back. They're pretty affordable. We need to have them come back for whatever reason, like I said, because of a freak injury or the case may be. We can easily let them go. So that's and of course this gives you an idea of what we're needing, what we're in need of for next season. As you see some of the worst position grades there. So like I said, wide receiver, left guard, right tackle, which we're still working on that. Like I said, I think for the next couple seasons here, at least I want to say I'm going to at least try to play at least 2 more seasons of this before we get ready for Madden 25. There's some areas on the offensive line that I'm just chipping away at, and like I said, we're gonna work. Basically, I want to draft some of those players, but at the same time too, if the deal comes up right, if the right guy comes up in free agency there, obviously we're going to try to pick him up and get him to sign. There you see Pierce. I'm really upset about this one here. Pierce got a 90 speed. He did help us about quite a bit there with the third down. He's kind of our third down back. He would help us out. He played a little bit of fullback from time to time, but we had to let him go as well because of course I don't want to have 4 halfbacks. Honestly, I could if I wanted to. Especially if I had the capita in this game, I would have a hell of a lot more running backs in this game. That's one of the positions I love. I could have had him play fullback, but we picked up a good fullback this year, and of course, Hunter Cannon can play fullback, so can Parker, and so I can easily put them back in those two positions, one of those two in that position there. We just decided to go it's like, okay, we're just gonna let you go. There's no need, unfortunately right now we just don't need your services. Woodford there, he's going to be on the practice squad. He's one of those guys that we drafted last year, one of our draftees that, he's still working on him. He's still got some issues with the blocking that we need to work on. Alex Chamberlain, he is one of those players that I really excited about. 90 speed, 90 acceleration, 75 catch. That's what he needs to work on. But he's one of those players I'm really considering bringing up as a fourth wide receiver to help us out. And I'm thinking about maybe even put him in the slot position there to see what he can do and just kind of build him up there. And of course, not having him in every single, he would definitely come in certain formations to help us out and just see what he can do there in those situations there. Because like I said, a lot of these guys will not be in all formations. They'll be in different packages that I've kind of set up for them and get them ready, so we can have different play packages and run different plays at different times in certain situations for this upcoming season, like I have been in past seasons as well, and other franchises. And then of course Davenport there, wide receiver, another one that we're gonna have to let go to the practice squad there as well. So we'll end up putting him on the practice squad there. Of course, like I said, we got 17 to cut, and this was tough because a lot of these guys we have on here, I'm like, oh man, I want to keep them around because they're doing so well in development. They're a good piece there. I've had a couple of these guys that we've had, start for, had a couple of starts, did pretty well, and then you just unfortunately just like didn't really make the final cut. Excuse me. Making it onto the team, and there's always tough choices here. So there you see Bernard. He is going to be also going to be put on the practice squad there. He was a guy that was on the team for the most part last year, I think the first 2 seasons of this series, but we're going to put him on the practice squad there, try to get him more development. There you see Dylan Carter. Now he was one of our guys that we just drafted here recently, but we are going to put on the practice squad. But don't be surprised if he gets called up pretty quickly here. He is a 71 overall. He's a hidden dev. We do have him set up as one of the players that we're going to develop for the season, but do not be surprised if we decide to go ahead and call him up, have him come up, which I would say probably after week 1 he probably will. I really truly, now I'm thinking about it, I should have just went ahead and just kept him in the squad and got the other guy and had him be on the, if he was Packers squad eligible, we put him on there. Francisco, this is his second year with us, and of course I think this is the year that he's going to make that, hopefully he can make that transition from being a backup to being a starter, and he can play, like I said, he can play actually all 3 positions. He can play left, right, and center mid, or left, right, in the middle linebacker. So those are one of those guys who I can plug in. We have him on the team right now. He's going to be on the practice squad, but if we have him on the team, I do have an idea of a certain formation that he will be playing in, and I think he'll make a good player to make an impact there and be comfortable on the field there for us for the most part here. And of course, Dane Jackson, guy that I was really considering about getting rid of in season 1, and we were kind of looking around to see what we could trade him for, and of course, we're going to keep him around for at least another year here. He is on the short list of players that we are looking at possibly trading, depending on, especially if the season goes topsy-turvy on us. He'll be one of those players that will get shipped out quick as possible. Terrell Dobson, you see some of the trades that are being offered to us right now. And of course, those trades, him and Jackson, of course, Spectre, and a couple other players I have in mind, you'll see here in the video. Of course, these offers will drastically change leading up to week 8, which is the trade deadline. They will drastically change, and different looks for different players, because certain teams may have more of a need of his service because of injuries or just because of personnel, and they just need something. They need a veteran to play that position, or whatever the case may be. Maybe they're rookie, or the second year or third year guy is not really cutting it, and they want to bring in somebody to kind of challenge him. Then if we're in that position where we can get rid of him, Especially if we got some players that are doing or rookies are doing too well and kind of going above and beyond expectation of what we have in mind for them this season, then there's a good chance we'll get rid of them, because a lot of these players you see in here that we have that I'm making offers for, they are 1-year contracts. This is their final year of their contract, and I kind of not necessarily want to push them out the door, but if they need to be pushed and we need some extra capital money, or even possibility of trades or draft picks, would be nice. Then that's what we're gonna try to do. So that is something we're looking at here, and there's some pretty good ones here. If you guys see any here that you guys think I should make right now, let me know in the comment section, as always. And of course, for the most part here, there's some pretty decent ones here. For the most part here, I'm really concerned about more offensive line. I just want to make sure our offensive line is safe, secure, for the most part here for our quarterback, Josh Allen. Like I said, we didn't have problems with the offensive line last year, but that's just something I've been trying to build on here in the last. Now this is season 3 now, so I'm trying to build, make it even stronger, tougher for our opposing defenses to try to penetrate. Like I said, offensive line, I'm worried. That's one thing I'm worried about. Of course, looking for quarterbacks, and I'm still thinking about the quarterback in the future. Pete Jones, not necessarily the quarterback in the future, but he's the quarterback for the backup for right now. The quarterback in the future, I'm thinking that might be a season from now. We'll see what the draft. We'll see what these draft guys look like coming up in this next draft here, because there are some pretty good ones here from the High and Scotty series that I'm mixing in, along with players that were from the. If you guys remember from my second channel over on ESGNet Plus LP, I had an online series with two of my buddies, and I've added some of their players that did pretty well. Not to mention not just their players, but also players that were in the game that were very excellent, quarterbacks, wide receivers, halfbacks, all that type of stuff. Those players are going to be a part of that in that draft class as well. So there's a good mixture of a little bit from both the High and Scotty series and from that Stanford Cardinals online series as well. So and we did a pretty good job. I think we did a pretty good job of doing a little bit of mixture of players that we can create in these draft classes here. But as you see here, Punafore, of course, we brought him from Seattle last year, and of course this is his last year. I forgot how much money he has left. It's not a lot of money left on his contract, but he is one guy I'm considering because we got a decent left end that we have right now, so he could be a guy that we could kind of say, okay, if someone can give us a decent draft pick or good decent trades here, we're willing to give him up. And of course, Deion Hawkins, he is going to be. This is the one I'm really scared about because he is going to be so freaking expensive. 86 overall. And I may have to franchise tag him for next season, so we at least have a year left with him, so we can make that move of what we need to do next. At least give us another year to what can we do to kind of plug up that hole, because that left side is going to be. That left side is so important to us right now. That's I think that's Josh's blind side. So Punafore, not Punafore, Deion Hawkins or Dawkins, he is going to be that is going to be a very important part of the line that we're going to have to worry about here. And I don't know, I haven't looked at the draft class yet for this one here when it comes to left tackles, but I think if anything, if we can get one of the linemen we got was a star dev, so we could put him over there and let Dawkins go. But I kind of want to keep Dawkins around for another year. If we can re-sign him to a decent deal, we'll try that. But we'll see how things go once we get into the season. So we'll see actually how well he plays, if there's any regression from him. In the position that he plays there, because that's a pretty demanding position. But there you see, there's some different looks there. That Jaguars pick there, I'm actually kind of interested in there for us. And then as we take a look here, Teron Johnson, one of the Johnson guys, the last of the Johnson boys that we have, because we had Jalen and of course now Teron. And then you see some picks, some opportunities for corners there, or at least a couple teams here looking for opportunities for corners. Of course, I'm going to try my best to avoid, trading within the division. That's just rule of thumb, kids. Just don't do that. Just it will bite you in the butt. It will bite you back, and it will bite you good. So don't ever trade in the division. But we'll try to see if we can try to find an NFC team that is pretty decent for him to go to, if we decide to go let him go. If anything, this will probably be his last season with us, unless he's willing to take a good price cut, but I doubt it, because he's just been playing too well for us. And and I don't blame him if he doesn't take a price cut at all, because he's been intercepting the ball for us greatly. And like I said, this also gives a good opportunity to start putting in those younger guys, because we still got like 2 or 3 other corners that we can put in there that has some pretty decent speed there that can help us out. All right, so let's talk about the upcoming game here coming up. And like I said, this is a game that I'm kind of nervous about, because we start off with the Dolphins, and the Dolphins have been making some pretty good changes, some very decent moves here, going into this last year's offseason about this time, and of course now going into this new offseason here. They got quite a bit of money, and of course they have Tua there, and of course he is going to be a player that we're going to watch out for in the short passing game there. That's definitely our play this year. And of course their blitz countering was just infectious. They were just rilling us like crazy when it came to that, and so we have to worry about that there again this year. And I think this year, we have a better job, even though we don't have, I think this year's offensive line is a little bit better than last year's. I will say that's that much here. But for us, like I said, for Tua, we just gotta make sure we just keep him just off kilter, keep him off schedule here, and just really just come at him at all different areas of the game. Tyreek Hill so far in this series has not been a problem for us. We've kind of kept him quiet. There's one game I think he had maybe over 100 yards. He had a big pass play on us or whatever, but for the most part here, we've been doing a good job here wrapping him up, kind of keeping him quiet. They haven't thrown to him too much here, but that could be a different story now as we go into season 3 here. He might have found his comfort level here, and he can make a name for himself. Jalen Waddle as well. We've seen him make some pretty good. They've been throwing at him, I think, more so in this series since we've been doing this one more often than anything. So Waddle will be one of those guys that we'll have to watch out for in the passing game, in the short medium passing game. A couple times they throw into him deep, but for the most part, I can't really think of anything just deep wise they would do. Now, the one thing I am really concerned about here, of all things, is the running game coming from the Dolphins. And look at that. Yeah, they got Swift there, coming from the Eagles now with the Dolphins, making pretty good money here. Star Dev, and 85 overall. He is definitely going to be real. I mean, we've got a good defense here that can stop the offense or stop the rushing game. But Swift is one of those guys. He can just really, if he gets that one good look, get that one good block, it's over with. He can go down the field and have a field day with you. On the other side of the ball here, of course, Xavier Howard, the corner there. He is definitely a guy that we try to do our best to avoid throwing to. And of course, he can cause some problems there as well in the deep passing game. And like I said, this year we don't. At least this first game, I think we're gonna stick with the short passing game, and of course, focus on the run. So if we can do so, that's not gonna be a huge problem for us. And of course, on the other side of the field, it's gonna be Blanco. Remember, Jerome Blanco, one of our players from the High and Scotty series, now here in Miami. Causing some problems. Last year he had a couple of good games there. It wasn't a huge impact like I think he will be this year, as he's going to be a superstar. He is moved up to now superstar dev, so he's going to be, obviously he's been doing something going his way here this last season. So he is definitely going to be a player that we're going to have to watch out for. But he will be out for 1 week. He has a hip pointer, so we will not see him in this game. Thank goodness. But yeah, we'll have to play him there and I believe in Miami. I think our first game is, I think, at home. So we won't have to worry about him until we get to Miami. Nate Mann, another player there, was a great defensive tackle. Sometimes he plays edge rusher there for the University of Wisconsin. He's another player from the High and Scotty series that has now stepped up as well and started making that defensive line his, and started being one of those monsters there on that D line for the Dolphins. So, like I said, not really looking too forward to this game here, especially running the ball. We may have to run the ball on the outside here to get away from man, because he does have some pretty good pursuit. And there you see some other abilities as well. So, like I said, we have a tough task here on our hands. This is a home game. We are at home, so this will be the first time these two teams will meet up. So we have the home field advantage at least. But I think for the most part here, this game has years past never really scared me. Sometimes some of the games maybe kind of question against the Dolphins, like, okay, what can we get away with and what can we not? This one making me even think about that even more so, because they got good two corners there that can just rip the ball out of the air like no other. And of course, if you get Swift going here and get his engine revving up, and I can't forget about Tua. I mean, he's got an arm on him. He's going to just be throwing just bombs on us there. And of course, that's going to really test out to see if our corners and safeties are exactly what they are supposed to be, at least ideally what I want them to be. But we'll see how that all plays out coming up in the next game here. So week 1 coming up here very soon here on the channel. Of course, we'll help set our season goals, as well as we'll see what our opening day keys are for opening day. We'll see what the coaches say. And of course, like I said, new playbook. I believe we're doing the I think this is the Broncos. We're using the playbook for the defensive coordinator, which he has a background of the Broncos. So yeah, go with that one there. And then offensively, we're using our same playbook, because our offensive coordinator is one of our former offensive coordinator. He's back here this year, so we signed him up. So we'll be using our offensive playbook there for the Bills. So yeah, I cannot wait till we get to week 1 here. Like I said, it'll be up here very, very soon. And you see a lot of offers that we have. We'll review those probably in the next episode as well, which we pretty much, I've already showed you guys what those offers were. But we'll see I'll take a look at some of those others that I think some of them may have changed. But that's it for this episode of the Buffalo Bills franchise here in the Buffalo Bills Mafia Sit-down. We'll have that next episode coming up here, like I said, very, very soon here on the channel. If you guys enjoy what you guys seen today, and of course, obviously, you guys can always put an input in what you guys want to see in the future videos, and of course, any ideas you guys have for us for this first couple of games, or any game we have coming up here, let me know down below in the comments section here in this video, as well as follow us on social media down below there in the description. And of course, follow us on those social media platforms, especially as well as on Twitter, excuse me. I'm always on there all the time, so definitely let me know what you guys have to say there on that platform. But that is it. Go Bills Mafia. We'll see you guys in week 1 against these Dolphins. I'm really seeing what these Dolphins are. They are 87 overall across the board. So we'll see how well they are coming up in the video. As always, guys, keep yourselves healthy, and I will see you all next time. Go Bills Mafia.
I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown.